Rain in the Face was a Hunkpapa Lakota Sioux chief and warrior who played an important role in the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876, where Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer and his 7th Cavalry Regiment were defeated. He was known for his courage and physical strength in combat. It was also believed that he held a personal grudge against Custer, whom he thought was responsible for the deaths of his brother and sister during an earlier conflict. Some accounts claim that Rain in the Face was among the warriors who overran Custer's unit at Little Bighorn and may even have delivered the fatal blow. Historians, however, continue to debate this claim, and the exact details of Custer's death remain uncertain. Rain in the Face eventually surrendered to U.S. forces and spent time imprisoned. After his release, he became an advocate for Native American rights and later gained popularity in Wild West shows where he shared stories of his experiences in battle. But before we begin, remember to like and subscribe to our channel to support our community. If you want to hear a story, I'll tell you a true one about myself. I was a bad man before I had to walk with crutches. My heart is good now, but it was bad when I was a warrior and a hunter. Women admired me, but men feared me. I preferred fighting to eating. Soldiers were afraid of me, and the Rees and Crows checked their hair every morning to be sure it was still there when I was nearby. I was someone to be feared, and my name was spoken in whispers. Harry spoke up, knowing that Indians liked to boast. "We know you were a fierce man, Rain," Harry said, "but we want to hear about the time Tom Custer defeated you. If you were so brave, how did a small man like Tom Custer overcome you?" The question made Rain uneasy, and he scowled. He was a large man, standing 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighing about 195 pounds, while Captain Tom Custer was smaller. After some thought, Rain told his side of the story and, to our surprise, continued by sharing his version of the Custer massacre. He spoke with expressive gestures and deep emotion, vividly recalling the events of that day. For years, Army officers and government agents tried to persuade Rain to talk about the battle, but he refused. They tried kindness, promises, and even threats, but nothing worked. Rain was widely believed to have killed Custer, and the poet Longfellow even wrote about him. So it came as a surprise when Rain finally decided to tell his story. I am writing it just as McLaughlin translated it. Rain said that 2 years before the Great Battle, Gaul and Sitting Bull had their camp at Standing Rock. All the Indians there opposed the government. They were Hunkpapa Sioux and feared nothing. The Yanktonnais were friendly Indians who stayed near the agency, seeking food and supplies. Life in the hostile camp was joyful. We danced, raced, practiced shooting, and played games. We had plenty of buffalo and deer to eat and many ponies. I was popular with the girls, and they teased me to make me angry. When I became angry, I wanted to fight. One night, a girl dared me to go to Fort Lincoln and kill a white man. I told her it was too dangerous, with soldiers always on guard and re-scouts close by. But she said, "A brave man is not afraid. If you are a coward, don't go. I will ask someone else who has danced in the sun dance." I could not ignore that challenge. The girls laughed, but the young men did not. They feared me, and I would have killed them for laughing. I went to my lodge, painted my face black, and took my gun, bow, and pony. Under cover of darkness, I slipped out of camp and traveled 45 miles north to Fort Lincoln. I waited there for 2 days, watching for an opportunity to shoot a soldier. I had chances to kill a white woman or a woodcutter, but I wanted to return with a soldier's brass buttons for the girl who mocked me. When I succeeded, she sewed them onto her shawl. One morning, I saw the storekeeper and a horse doctor walk toward a spring. Long yellow hair and his men were riding back about 100 yards away. I rushed forward, shot the storekeeper, and struck the horse doctor with my war club. Then I filled them with arrows and cut off some buttons. Long yellow hair heard the gunshot and turned back. I did not have time to scalp the men I had killed. I leapt onto my pony and shouted for them to catch me. They chased me to the Cannonball River. The following winter, I went to the agency store at Standing Rock. I received no rations because I had not signed the peace treaty. The storekeeper, missing an arm, was there. I was not afraid of him or the 30 soldiers with little hair. He crept up behind me, and they all jumped on me together. They threw me into a wagon and pinned me down until they reached the guard room at Lincoln. I was treated like a woman, not a chief. They locked me in a room, chained me, and gave me only one blanket. Snow blew through the cracks all winter and covered me. It was bitterly cold. Once Little Hair let me out, and the soldiers told me to run. I knew they wanted to shoot me in the back. I told Little Hair that I would escape and cut out his heart and eat it. I was chained to a white man, and one night we managed to escape. They fired at us, but we ran and hid along the banks of the Heart River. The white man cut our chains with a knife, but he was captured the next day. I escaped, knowing they would hunt for me. I rejoined Sitting Bull and Gaul, but they were afraid to come for me. I sent Little Hair a drawing of a bloody heart on buffalo hide, so he would know I had not forgotten my vow. The next time I saw him, I took his heart. That is all I will say. Much of this matched the government's account of the deaths of the sutler and Surgeon Hunzinger, but we wanted to hear about Tom Custer's heart. McFadden showed Rain a sketch of Custer's last charge and asked if it looked like the battle. Rain studied it, then burst into laughter. No, this picture is false. The soldiers did not fight us with swords, but with rifles and revolvers. They fought on foot, with every fourth man holding the horses. We tied ourselves to our ponies and fought in a circle. We stripped naked and painted both ourselves and our horses. This picture shows us with bows and arrows, but we were better armed than that. Their guns fired only once with the shells stuck inside. I know this because I saw dozens of guns on the battlefield with shells still jammed in them. The soldiers' weapons failed. When we realized their guns did not work, we used our war clubs to knock them down. It was easy, like killing sheep. Some begged for mercy, but we showed none. This picture is a lie, like all white men's pictures of Indians. Let me show you how it truly looked. Rain flipped the paper over and drew a large sideways S with a pencil. This is the Little Bighorn River. Our lodges were set along its banks, shaped like a bent bow. How many lodges were there? Harry asked. Many, many times 10. We were as numerous as blades of grass. There were between 4,000 and 6,000 Indians, meaning at least 1,000 lodges. Sitting Bull made powerful medicine on a hill, brought it back in a bag on a coup stick, and delivered a great speech. He said the Great Spirit had told him the soldiers were coming, but that we would defeat them. His words made us joyful. The next day, our runners came with news that the soldiers were approaching.
Sitting Bull had the women set up empty lodges along the river to deceive the re-scouts. The twists of the river and dense brush cleverly concealed our real lodges. Once that was done, Sitting Bull left to perform more medicine and did not return until the battle had ended. He was a great and respected chief, but he did not take part in the fighting that day. Leadership on the battlefield fell to Gaul, the head chief, while Crazy Horse commanded the Cheyennes. Goose led the Bannocks. I myself was not a head chief, yet I commanded a band of fierce Hunkpapa warriors. We understood the condition of the soldiers' horses. They were exhausted, and the enemy was misled by the empty lodges. They believed we were a small, harmless group, but we were ready, disciplined, and fierce, prepared to strike with full force. Their biggest error was dividing their forces. Gaul led most of our warriors up the river to cut them off from retreat. When we observed the re-scouts lingering behind with long yellow hair, we felt relief and anticipation. We let them advance over the bluffs, and some of our younger warriors struck from behind, trapping them. Then we revealed our line, and the soldiers charged. Under our fire, they faltered. Our young men, positioned behind the initial line, opened fire, creating chaos. We saw officers talking and pointing directions, but to us they all looked the same. No individual mattered. I did not see long yellow hair then, nor at any later point. We heard the Rees' war songs, a chilling recognition that they understood their fate. The soldiers dismounted, assigning every fourth man to hold the other's ponies. We closed in like a rolling wave surging across the sand. We shot the men holding ponies and stampeded the animals by waving our blankets. Our women, exhausted yet relentless, captured the animals. I had sung the war song and inhaled the sharp scent of gun smoke. My heart was wild and dark with rage. In that frenzy, I seemed mindless, driven solely by the heat of battle. I rushed forward, seized their flag, and my pony fell dead beneath me. I cut the thong, leapt up, and struck the flag-bearer with my war club. I returned to our line with the captured flag, proud of the daring feat. Our warriors cheered, yet the fight continued relentlessly. Blood and brains splattered across my face, hot and bitter in taste, fueling my fury. I mounted a fresh pony and charged back into the fray, shooting, slashing, and cutting through enemy lines. When that pony was shot, I mounted yet another. It was then I saw Little Hair, and my vow surged in my mind. I felt invincible, fearless, convinced my white weasel tail charm protected me. I cannot count how many I struck down while reaching him. He recognized me, and I laughed, shouting insults that were lost amidst the battle's chaos. He was afraid. When I drew near, I fired my revolver at him. My gun disappeared somewhere amid the fight, but it did not stop me. I leapt from my pony, cut out his heart, bit into it, and spat a piece in his face. Then I rode away, holding that gruesome prize. Satisfied, I no longer desired to scalp him. My vow was fulfilled, and that alone mattered. I did not return to the battlefield afterward. Later, the women finished what we had started. They killed the wounded, gathered valuables, and removed boots for leather. They even cut off fingers to collect rings more quickly. They searched for Long Yellow Hair's scalp, but could not find him. He had disguised himself, cut his hair, and worn no uniform. That night we celebrated with a feast and a scalp dance. Sitting Bull addressed us, declaring, "I told you my medicine would work." He claimed credit for our bravery and victory. Gaul, however, challenged him, saying, "We did the fighting, you only performed the medicine." This dispute created tension between them, a rivalry that could have jeopardized further success. We could have destroyed the remaining soldiers on the hill, but the quarrel between Gaul and Sitting Bull held us back. Both wanted to lead, and many Indians chose sides. I, however, did not care for such disputes. I led my own group independently, uninterested in following either chief. Exhausted by fighting, I longed instead for the joy of dancing. Later, hearing that more soldiers were approaching with heavy artillery, we moved north, crossing the border to safety. I remained there until Sitting Bull returned, and only then did I come back home. I was glad to be back. "That is my story," Rains said. "I have never told it to white men before. I am glad I have shared it with you." When he finished, I asked, "If you did not kill Long Yellow Hair, then who did?" He replied, "I do not know. No one knows. It was like fighting in the dark." Mac asked why Long Yellow Hair had not been scalped like the others. Rain explained, "No one is too brave to be scalped. The women could not find him. He must have been hidden beneath other bodies." Then Mac inquired about Curly, the Crow Scout who claimed to have escaped. Rain laughed bitterly. "Curly is a liar. He was not in the fight. His pony broke down and he ran away like a coward." Rain, now about 60 years old, is the only surviving chief able to recount the Custer fight firsthand. Though he can write his name in English, he doesn't fully grasp its significance. His English vocabulary is limited, yet he understands nearly everything spoken to him. Like other Indians, he values future favors over past ones. He is courageous, but guided more by honor than conventional morals. Despite his age, he remains physically strong and imposing, embodying the ideal of the Indian warrior imagined in Fenimore Cooper's novels. While he can understand much of English, he struggles to pronounce even 30 words clearly. Yet his defining quality is his dependability. Once he gives his word, it is certain, though gaining that promise requires patience. I hope this first-hand account provides a new perspective on the Battle of Little Bighorn and the Great Sioux War of '76. Stay tuned for more videos like this. I aim to share additional first-hand accounts of other battles, giving you deeper insight into the past.
Have a great day, and I will see you next time.